Male empress refused to be the emperor's caged bird, making a living by streaming and teaching knowledge. He lived peacefully here. But 5 years later, his ex-husband, the emperor, came back to life in the museum. Liang Yuchu was originally the heir of a marquis family, but who knew a marriage decree would make him Sheng Mingzhou's wife? Sheng Mingzhou was his childhood friend, later became emperor and turning a feudal, with a bad temper and arrogant attitude. With a thunderous roll, Sheng Mingzhou appeared in Liang Yuchu's room. Liang Yuchu was awakened by his voice, groggily glanced at the Persian by the bed, turned over and continued. The next second, that face just now looked so familiar. He looked at Sheng Mingzhou leaning close. Instinctively thinking, he reached out and patted Sheng Mingzhou, then pinched it, thinking to himself how real it felt. Suddenly his hand was forcefully grabbed by the man. You got both daring to pinch my face like. Only then did Liang Yuchu wake up from his dream. He screamed and jumped off the bed. It's not real, this must all be a hallucination. Self-convincing failed, so he ran to the door on shaky legs. If he didn't run now, it would be too late. Behind him came Sheng Mingzhou's ghostly growl. Liang Yuchu looked at the black energy on the door, then looked at Sheng Mingzhou. Immediately gave in saying, I won't run, your majesty, please calm down. Although Sheng Mingzhou died 1,000 years ago, his soul remained, persistently searching for Liang Yuchu. He wanted Liang Yuchu to give him an explanation. Why did he run away by? Liang Yuchu never expected they could meet again after 1,000 years. But what if he came back to life? First a century. Forcing someone into marriage is illegal. They spun. Some things I didn't say because I thought it would be too obvious. Let's make it clear. Sheng Mingzhou, I want a divorce from you. Sheng Mingzhou refused. He completely ignored Liang Yuchu's words, suddenly saying, I won't hold you running away against you anymore. From now on, just live a good life. Liang Yuchu told him to wake up. We never got a marriage certificate. Legally, we were never husband and wife. I'm a free man now. If you want to force marriage on someone, I can take your call. However, Sheng Mingzhou as an emperor didn't understand work rules. Speaking of law, he was the law. He picked up Liang Yuchu and threw him on the bed. And he had searched for Liang Yuchu. Yet Liang Yuchu wanted a divorce as soon as they met. This outcome. He vengefully bit down on Liang Yuchu's neck. The bite brought Liang Yuchu to his senses. The current Sheng Mingzhou was a demon. When he went crazy, he was completely unreasonable. He could only call for help. The phone was quickly. Hello, Mr. Liang. How can I help you? Someone suddenly broke into my room. What kind of magic is this? Long-distance communication. Liang Yuchu said seriously, this is a master of the highest level. Even your majesty might not be able to handle them. Zombie husband puts a tracking magic mark on his wife. Wife confronts him, but he acts more wrong than her. Rocha, forgive me, the days without you were too hard to bear. I don't want to go through another 1,000 years. Where would I search for you then? Continuing from last episode, Sheng Mingzhou was distracted by the talking line. He just heard the mention called police. So he asked Liang Yuchu. Then hung up and said police are like the old bailiffs. The bailiffs have such strong power. Liang Yuchu couldn't explain it to him. Just said the world is full. This is no longer your world. But Sheng Mingzhou asked who the current emperor was. I'll go kill him and take back the power. Liang Yuchu was scared, but quickly said there are no emperors now. Mingzhou said matter of factly I am the law. Liang Yuchu rubbed his forehead with a headache. It was impossible to he prepared to borrow a laptop from next door to educate Sheng Mingzhou. He came out in a hurry and didn't bring his computer. But Sheng Mingzhou thought he was trying to escape again, so he branded a mark on his right shoulder. This is the magic mark I've placed on you. From now on, wherever you go, no. Liang Yuchu angrily rushed to Sheng Mingzhou. How many times do I have to say? You can't violate my personal. But Sheng Mingzhou acted even more wrong than don't blame me. The days without you are too hard to bear. I don't want to go through another 1,000 years. Where would I search for you then? Liang Yuchu was left speechless by this question. After a moment he thought for Sheng Mingzhou could understand he wouldn't be Shen. Later he went out to borrow a laptop and found the important historical events from the past 1,000 years. And had Sheng Mingzhou take a good look. After explaining the basic page, Liang Yuchu went to bed to sleep. Sheng Mingzhou curiously looked at the laptop. Remembering what Liang Yuchu said about the page, began reading page by. Next day Liang Yuchu got up to check the study progress. Found Sheng Mingzhou had almost finished reading. Reaction. Hey Mingzhou. He waved his hand in front of him. The empire I built has just gone like that. Liang Yuchu comforted him that accepting the new world wasn't as hard. Wasn't he living just fine now? Turned into a wisp of black smoke and flew out the window. Liang Yuchu immediately rushed downstairs to find him. Remembering Sheng Mingzhou asked where the imperial city was before disappearing. Taking a taxi from here would take over an hour. Thinking about what could happen in that hour, Liang Yuchu was already sweating bullets. Sheng Mingzhou might very well be stopped by some and attack the guards. While arrogantly said, you mere commoners did. You're asking. He could already see tomorrow's trending topics on major webs. Shocking. Man with period drama addiction claims to be. Well, how do you view the suspected mental patient? Even considered buying a plane ticket and running away overnight. Suddenly images of Sheng Mingzhou appeared before his. He guessed it was because of the mark. Tourists coming to visit the demon, Emperor Sheng Di. Saw a man in ancient costume, sitting on the dragon throne. Zombie husband Grong gropes his wife in broad daylight. When life pushes him away, he turns the tables. Usually you're the one who said we live a good life together. Continuing from last episode, tourists thought the man on the dragon throne was a wax. But one of them said they saw his finger move. His friend nearby said, I feel like he looks a bit like Emperor Sheng who was excavated 2 months ago. On the dragon throne looked grim. Thinking the times really were different. The vast Qianyang palace was like people coming and going freely. Commoners daring to point and stare at me like watching monkeys. Security quickly noticed his presence, shouting for him to come down and leave the move. Security came forward to grab Sheng Ming and drag him away. Sheng Mingzhou forcefully shook off his hand, saying, you're not worthy to touch me. Instinctively thought Sheng was some influencer doing cosplay. Then Shen Mingzhou did exactly as Liang Yuchu predicted. Grabbed the guard's throat ready to send him to his death. Just then he heard Liang Yuchu shouting in his mind. Mingzhou, let him go, you can't kill him. You watched all that stuff last for now. I'm telling you, if you kill him, we're really done. Didn't you say we'd live a good life together? Liang Yuchu was shouting at thin air on the street, causing passers-by to stare at him strangely. Seeing this, Liang Yuchu quickly lowered his voice. I'm putting it out there. You decide what to do. Shen Mingzhou go. Another guard came over the house. The two walked away muttering about whether to call the police. Shen Mingzhou looked around his former court then left too. His purpose in coming back to life was just to live a good life with Yuchu. Arrived at the Imperial City tourist area now. He whispered to the Magicom. I'm here, come find me quickly, don't cause any more trouble. The next second, Shen Mingzhou appeared behind him. Yuchu jumped in fright. This guy's speed was... Then he pulled Shen Mingzhou to a deserted street. Planning to talk with this person. But as soon as they reached the empty spot, he was suddenly hugged from behind by Shen Mingzhou. He shoved. Down, you couldn't bear to leave me. Then his ear was bitten by Shen Mingzhou. Liang Yuchu had to push up. Why are you getting handsy again? Shen Mingzhou crossed his arms in displeasure. I've seen every part of your body. How is that getting handsy? Yuchi, you're the one who said we'd live a good life together. And hurt innocent people. No matter what, he still needed to keep the guy stable. If I hadn't dragged you away just now, you would have been seen by passers-by. Your Majesty, your cultural relics should stay in museum. What will people think? Can you have some self-awareness? I haven't punished them for imprisoning me yet. Liang Yuchi interrupted him. Fine, you're capable. Just tell them all that. But what about me? Saying this, he weakly told Shen Mingzhou said. His eyes gradually. I'm just an ordinary person who doesn't even dare kill chickens. Do you want me to spend every day hiding with you? Yuchi forced his eye. Tears immediately welled up. Do you think this is a normal life? This pitiful appearance softened Shen Mingzhou's heart. He held Liang Yuchi's hand with a gentler tone. I didn't think it true. I said I wanted to live a good life with you and I'll keep that promise. Alright, don't cry. Hearing this, Liang Yuchi secretly rejoiced that this guy was easy to fool. Zombie husband puts his clothes on all wrong, gone. Holds up a bunny trial, asking his wife what does this thing. Liang Yuchu was going crazy. This guy really didn't even know how to put on clothes. Continuing from last episode, Shen Mingzhou's dragon robe was too conspicuous. Liang Yuchu took him to a nearby clothing store, picked out something that looked suitable, and handed it to him to change it. But he spread his arms while the clerk looked at him confused. He waited a long time, but no one came to serve. Displeased, he frowned. What are you staring at? Why aren't you helping me change? The clerk showed a look of he's so into character, so professional. Liang Yuchu gritted his teeth. Right at You're spoiled. Where do don't? Liang Yuchu waited, but Shen Mingzhou didn't come out, thinking he probably didn't know how to put on clothes. Just then the dressing room door opened. Shen Mingzhou called out. Liang Yuchu was pulled in as soon as he reached the door. He saw Shen Mingzhou holding a button he'd torn off. I figured out how to put this garment on. But what is this thing? Yuchu looked at the clothes Shen Mingzhou had buttoned all wrong. He really doesn't know how to put on clothes. Then he helped Shen Mingzhou button up properly, thinking if it wasn't for the money, he really wouldn't want to serve him anymore. Right now he felt like an old father raising a son. But Shen Mingzhou's expressionless face couldn't be associated with a cute son, more like a deadbeat dad. But he had to admit, Shen Mingzhou's good looks and great physique. He still looked incredibly handsome in modern clothes. The clerk recommended he try some too. So Liang Yuchu went to the dressing room to change Shen Mingzhou if these clothes looked good. The outfit had a very open neckline. Shen Mingzhou frowned slightly because it was also unexposed. The clerk came forward to help Liang Yuchu adjust the waist tie. Seeing this, Shen Mingzhou's face rushed over and pushed the clerk away, angrily saying, what kind of behavior is this? Liang Yuchu's revealing neck. You're my empress, how dare you dress like this and let others touch you? Right in front of me too. The pushed clerk was shocked. Thinking what embarrassing CEO dialogue. Liang Yuchu decided to pure this premium antique spray. Replied, you still want to be empress. But now you can't even afford a house. I have to pay for it. I must have owed you in my past life. Do you want me to stay chaste for you too? Saying this, he tried to pry Mingchan, but they wouldn't budge. Shen Mingzhou, I've had enough of you, just get lost. The moment those words fell, a fierce wind rose in the storm and clothes fell to the floor. The clerk freaked out. Shen Mingzhou still gripping Yuchu's collar, telling him to say that again. Then he apologized, saying he would compensate for everything. Liang Yuchu painfully swiped his card, Shen Mingzhou, and quickly left the scene to a bus stop because there were many tourists they couldn't get. Liang Yuchu told Shen, at this rate it would take them at least 2 hours to get home. The next second he was picked up by Shen Mingzhou. Rather than wait for those moving metal boxes, I'll carry you back. It will be there in less. Don't you fool, half an hour. Or his wife won't stay with him. Little does he know his wife thinks this old relic doesn't know how to use any electronics. By the time he earns enough to buy a house, it'll be ages. Continuing from last episode,